My mom and dad had a total of 9 children. We lived in a house with 1 bathroom. I still don't know how we managed that, but 6 of their children were born with cystic fibrosis, which is a really high percent. My 2 older sisters, the only sisters I had, were both born with CF, and my older brother, Ron. And then my brother, Danny, and my brother, Curtis, and my brother, Mike. What I remember most is the problems with their lungs. So once a child is diagnosed with CF, there's a lifelong treatment process that begins. You're getting physical therapy every day. You're taking nebulized stuff, and you can't breathe very well. And so it's a hard life for these people. There's some point where you realize that person just is not going to make it through it. It was incredibly difficult. In my mid-20s, I had a friend, and you know, when you're at that age, you're struggling, you don't really know what you want. And he asked me, well, Wanda, what do you really want to do? And it was so clear to me. It was like, well, I want to work on cystic fibrosis. And he said, well, why aren't you doing that? And it just opened my eyes to the possibility that, well, maybe that's something I can do. And I ended up down at Baylor College of Medicine. And by that time, I was very well aware of the research that was going on here. And my advisor wrote to Dr. Boucher.
He was extolling the virtues of Wanda and how important it would be for us to bring in Wanda as part of the research team. She is just a person that wants the best for CF research. So when we first started the enterprise here at UNC, I think the average lifespan was probably 16 or so for CF kids, and now it's 41, 42. So a lot of little steps have gone a long way. The simplest was inhaled salt water, and this is hypertonic saline. We collaborated with a group in Australia that liked hypertonic saline because they thought their kids were doing better during surfing season. And then we also did a study to show why this should be used, how it could be used, and how you could measure it. Roughly 10, 12 years later, without having any companies behind it or drug reps or pushing it or anything like that. Hypertonic is used in the US by about 65–70% of kids. So it's really been the poster child of what you can do with teamwork. In the Marcia Lung Institute, we have people from all the basic sciences, and then they're admixed with all the clinicians. And so it's a very collaborative effort for a disease that affects 30,000 kids in the US. The awareness and the interest and the success has been just dramatic.
Collaborations are the center of what I do. And it's a good thing that the collaboration goes beyond the scientist, clinician, scientist. It goes out to them, the cystic fibrosis parents, the cystic fibrosis patients that collaborate with us. When I was about 12 or 13, I started really focusing on working on the farm and helping my dad. And when I get discouraged, I'll remember when you plant the crops in the spring, you have to wait, and sometimes you don't get what you want. You've had a drought or you've had a hailstorm. You feel like you haven't accomplished anything, but you do accomplish things. Studying cystic fibrosis has taught the world so much about lung biology. It'd be great to find a cure for CF, but for me, it'd be like, okay, what's the next problem?